And this is a tip I learned from America's Test Kitchen Family Cookbook, which is to use 3/4 of a cup of cornstarch and 1/4 of a cup of cornmeal, mix them together very completely, and then drop your cubed tofu into a pan containing those two ingredients until the tofu cubes are coated. Then you can saute the cubes, and what happens with that protective coating, it turns into a nicely palatable crust, while at the same time keeping the interior of the tofu cube nice and moist. I wouldn't worry too terribly much about drying it out before you start cooking, pressing it in, bathing it in, or swathing it in paper towels to soak out the moisture. A little bit of moisture in tofu makes it easier to deal with. I want to recommend, though, as far as the cornmeal goes in this approach to doing tofu, get as coarse a grain of cornmeal as you can find. A fine grain works, but not as well as a coarse grain for the cornmeal. Let's see, what else do I need to say?
It's not in grease, it's in
Oh, yes, thank you.
broth.
I don't, following Dr. Esselstyn's dictum on not using oil, I saute everything I saute in vegetable broth. I was going to say vegetable oil. Vegetable broth, which I use in a spray bottle. Makes it very easy to control the exact amount you want in the pan at any given moment. And also, the one thing about preparing tofu in this way is that it requires a lot of close attention, unless you're willing to risk the fact that the cubes will get stuck to the saute pan and you'll be tearing off the nice crust unless you keep moving the stuff around, either with tongs, and the tongs work best, I think, because they enable you to handle exactly a cube at a time. Sometimes you load up a spatula with 3 or 4 cubes of tofu, and then what do you do with it? You have to break up the cluster anyway. But and finally, here's what it looks like at the end of the prep phase. I do apologize for the way things look, but as I always do when I serve people foods, that my presentation is the aspect of cooking that I need most to work on. But as long as it tastes good, as long as it's good for you, people are willing to forgive a little bit of amateurism when it comes to the way things look.
And you were telling me that the crusty edges have a nice soft inside. Is that right?
Yeah, it is. Yes.
Yeah, that kind of melts in your mouth almost.
Yeah.
And then if you wanted to add seasoning, have you done that any yet, where you put some seasoning in your meal and your cornstarch to kind of flavor it a little bit more than just the taste of the corn?
Yeah, I do the seasoning once the cubes are in the saute pan, rather than in the coating phase.
Okay.
And one quite easy to use is Bragg's essential amino acids. Gives it a nice salty piquancy without all the salt that you might otherwise have to use. Or you can use curry powder, things of that sort. The tofu cubes, bless their souls, are very inviting they invite all kinds of attention, and that attention includes things like spicing them up, which improves their palatability.
That sounds great. Roanne, is it good?
Yeah. I like the tofu cubes because you have different textures there. You know, you've got the soft inside and then the crusty outside. Yeah, and he's a very good cook. He does most of our cooking.
That's fantastic. And let's see now. So you you have tofu sometimes. Do you have like 5 or 6 different meals that you really like that you have on a regular basis, or do you have something brand new every night?
Well, no, nothing brand new every night. Maybe one brand new a week over a period of 7 days. Generally, though, we tend to repeat the things we find we really enjoy. There's a range of maybe 20 dishes total that we would eat at the drop of a hat, and quite happily. I could, if I were a little bit more ambitious, I could spend a lot of time reading and trying a variety of recipes and enlarging that 20 or 25 menu items. But
Why?
yeah, exactly. Why? when you isolated what works, then you leave it alone.
That's right. It's nice to have those favorites. I think back to when I didn't eat plant-based. There were a few, maybe 5 or 6 things we ate in a week, and we would repeat those over and over. And you got pretty good at cooking those too. It didn't take as much time. So
Right. Yeah.
Exactly.